One thing about Newfoundland, if you're from Newfoundland, you're from Newfoundland and go away. You can stay away for years. But there's something about Newfoundland that just draws you back. Even when we go on a vacation, we can't wait to get home. And this is home, right?
What do you know about Newfoundland? If you clicked on this video, I'm assuming that you must have some level of interest in the Atlantic Canadian province of Newfoundland and Labrador. But regardless of whether you're born and raised in Newfoundland, if you were from one of the other Canadian provinces or territories, or if you just ended up here by accident and know absolutely nothing about the place, I'm going to tell you a few points here that will help you understand Newfoundland a little bit better. Newfoundland is rugged. There aren't many, if any, communities that hug the shoreline here that followed any kind of organizational patterns when it came to building houses, let alone building on a grid. The people who came before us in these tiny towns built their houses wherever it made sense for them to do so. There wasn't any thought put into it really, how it might fit symmetrically with your neighbor's house. And the stereotype of colorful houses is such a generic note that might apply to communities in Newfoundland. And when you do see it, you can't help but notice it, but it isn't nearly as pervasive as the internet might make you believe.
On July the 1st, 1916, at Beaumont Hamel, that was 801 Newfoundlanders went to battle against the Germans.
801 came up out of the trenches and out the no man's.
I think it was like basically the Germans were there ready as soon as they popped their heads up out of the trenches.
It was almost like an ambush, right?
Almost like an ambush, yeah. And
they didn't have to die like that. They didn't have to go over the top. Like a lot of them were like.
They lied about their age to get in.
Oh, yeah,
Like
yeah.
they weren't even old enough to be there, and they might have been 16,
17, 18, yeah.
And they said they were 18 so that they can enlist and stuff.
And the reason they went over, I mean, they're just really the adventure of it, right? I mean, they said, they're only go a couple months, come back home again, right?
They had no idea it was going to be a 4 or 5 year war, right?
They're all, like I say, a lot of them were underage or late teens, early 20s.
They say like a whole generation of young men were wiped out over there at that time. So sad.
There's something about Signal Hill. It lifts you above the ordinary things of everyday life.
I love Newfoundland. I think that's pretty obvious to anybody who watches my videos, whether your idea of Newfoundland is the same as mine or not. I just love it. I'm not really into outdoorsy stuff. I don't really enjoy camping or hiking. I've never gone hunting before. Fishing is awesome, but it's never played a big role in my life. But regardless, no one can tell me that I don't really and truly love this place. I'm fascinated by Newfoundland, where we're going and how we got to where we are today. We have an incredible story that most people don't know anything about. We've been told so much for so long by people who often never give a damn about us, about who we are and where we come from and what our place in the world is. The more I know, the more I learn, the hungrier I am to learn more. This is my list of the top 10 places to get a feed of fish and chips in Newfoundland. Fight me in the comments. For number 10 on my list, the ship. I only learned about the Station Diner in Holyrood relatively recently, but they've been around for at least a decade. But back to the cod jigger though. The batter on the fish, it's so good. We got takeout from Main Street Diner here in Grand Bank one night this past September. I just couldn't stop thinking about the fish chips from Main Street Diner. I had to have one. So for number 6, the place is called Pritch's, the town of Lassie on the Bayford Peninsula. For number 5, we're going to a place called Ernie's in Harbour Breton. At number 4, we have Chafe's Landing, and it's amazing. Hub of the North is the big new hotel in Greenspawn. They have a pretty big restaurant on site. I remember my first ever order from By the Beach, and I was feeling like it was like a completely new experience. You already know, number 1, Leo's. Leo's is the best. It just is.
it's all gone. No, not yet. Look, one little bit left. Good boy.
Do you recognize this wharf? This is a very iconic piece of a song. The song isn't about the wharf, but they mention Clayton's Wharf in my personal favorite Newfoundland song ever recorded, Saltwater Joys by Buddy Watts' name and the other fellas. You can actually go to the actual wharf that Wayne Johnson sings about in this amazing song.
Just to wake up in the morning to the choir of the cove and hear one to see talking to herself. Doing the sing with me.
And to hear poor Uncle John mumbling wishes too old now. Make me feel
Everything was fine. I was born down by the water. I'm here, I'm going to stay. I should follow the reasons, but I should go away. But I don't.
haven't got the
The
first.
first was modern day, so I'll stay and take my chances with those saltwater joys.
Work, buddy.
Newfoundland and Labrador is Pepsi country. This is why. I can't remember exactly when this was, but I've been able to pinpoint that it was at least at some point in 1991 when we would see big groups of men, and there might have been women too, but it was definitely only men that I remember seeing, quote unquote, on strike on O'Leary Avenue. My dad was a mailman, so I knew what a strike looked like, even as an 11-year-old, but Dad explained that this wasn't exactly a strike that we were driving past. It was similar, but it was different. All of these men lost their jobs, and they didn't do anything wrong. They worked at the Coke plant, and Coke decided that they didn't want to have a plant in Newfoundland anymore. Pretty much immediately, there were campaigns launched to boycott Coke in Newfoundland, at least around town. When Coca-Cola pulled their operation out of Newfoundland, they killed a bunch of good jobs at a time when Newfoundlanders were very worried about the future.
Buddy thinks he owns everything, right?
Joey's lookout. AI doesn't understand Newfoundland. Like, at all. Yet, anyway. I'm sure it'll get much better and it won't take long, but right now, this is what AI thinks Newfoundland looks like. You can see the direction we're going in with this, and the notes are all there, but they just don't come together to create a song, you know what I mean? Of course, AI is always improving, and there are probably even paid services out there that already can do better than this, but for now, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. This is a video about a town of less than 7,000 people called Stephenville on the west coast of Newfoundland. The Americans arrived in this tiny town on Newfoundland's west coast starting in 1941. This particular site was selected mainly because the Americans wanted to build an airstrip. So construction on the airstrip, living accommodations for almost 3,000 troops, other buildings, this provided good work for thousands of Newfoundland families. As the town grew in population, so too did the amenities around the town. Movie theaters, bowling alleys, baseball fields, restaurants serving new foods like hamburgers, clubs playing new music like rock and roll. This type of stuff was introduced to Newfoundland and Stephenville even before St. John's in many cases. This tiny town was prospering, and it was basically the cutting edge of Newfoundland. We call that going up the shore, even though you're driving south. I went as far as Ferryland this time. I went to Ferryland, stopped into Cape Broyle, Torres Cove, Bay Bulls. I mean, Bay Bulls is kind of like the first town that's truly on the Southern Shore Highway. You could start in the Ghouls or even Petty Harbor, which is not really Southern Shore, but it is on that same shoreline. It's just it's not quite the Southern Shore at that point. You start seeing the signs for the Southern Shore Highway around the Ghouls. Ferryland is about an hour away, so it gives you plenty of time for a day trip to stop and see some cool stuff and get back to your hotel, your Airbnb, or whatever you're staying at before nightfall and still experience some of Newfoundland.
I wonder how many of my fellow Canadians know that it is 250 years older than Halifax, and in fact was an international seaport when New York was still a swamp. It is the oldest city in North America and the capital of Canada's youngest province.
So when we were finally done with our little excursion to the island to see the puffins at the puffin viewing site, when we came out, it was a beautiful day and there were people heading in. And one of the people that was heading in asked, simple question, were there any puffins there today? I couldn't answer. I was literally speechless. I couldn't simply say, yes, there were puffins. I was trying to say so many things because my mind was just racing from what I had just experienced. And Belorme is kind of like a town that's on the base of a fjord. So you can see from the footage, you don't need me to talk about it any more than I'm already talking about it. It is a beautiful town and it's just majestic, and there's not much that needs to be said about it. Just watch. Now, staying on the Burin Peninsula is one of the coolest things that literally nobody else in Canada can say is we share a border with France. Yes, 20% of Canada speaks French, but nobody in Quebec or in New Brunswick can claim to be on a border with France. We can. This is the border to St. Pierre and Miquelon from the town of Fortune on the Burin Peninsula. As I write this, I've been away from Newfoundland for about 5 months. There was a time when I was young and dumb where I didn't come home for just about 5 years. And at that point, I didn't miss the place at all. Those days are long gone. This 5-month stretch feels more like 5 years than 5 years did. In the town of Fleur-de-Lis on the Baie Verte Peninsula, there's a beautiful coffee shop, a little gift shop called Sam's Place. Sam's Saltwater Joy's Place, Sam's Place. This is a beautiful tribute to a young girl and a town that was devastated back in the year 2000. The reason why this is such an amazing place is the mother of the young girl has put everything that she had into this place as a way to remember her young daughter, and it's a beautiful place inside and out. This town was devastated by an unbelievably painful event that shook the family, but the whole entire town, a small town like this, when there's a tragedy like this, nobody's left unaffected. So for the mother and the town itself to create this beautiful place to honor this girl's memory and to keep her name alive, it's definitely a place that's worth visiting. Now in the town of Elliston, again just outside the town of Bonavista, there's a beautiful memorial dedicated to Newfoundland sealers. There's a bronze statue created in the image of Albert, John, and Reuben Crew, a father and son that were on the sealing voyage that was disastrous in 1914, where they were actually found in this form apparently. So just a really touching memorial to see that the father and son, you know, and remember the sealers and the conditions that they worked in at that time.
I'm on the Lighthouses ferry. It's pretty loud. I'll try to fix this in post and cut out some of that background noise, but the boat was actually pulling, or the ferry was pulling out as I was trying to find a place to park, and they turned around and came back for me because they saw me.
No, wait. We're not just going to glaze over what I just said. The ferry left the dock and came back to get me because they saw me. I knew it was a passenger only ferry, so I knew I had to park my car, and I was looking for the place to park. It wasn't totally well marked. So I saw the ferry and I overshot it, and by the time I came back, I saw a guy coming up the hill in his car. I rolled down my window and I asked the guy, like, where am I supposed to park for the ferry? And he said, the ferry just pulled out. I'm like, oh, this is my one chance to get to Lighthouses. He said, if you go down there, if you flash your lights, they'll come back for you. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, they will. So I had nothing to lose. I was already there. I went down and flashed my lights. The ferry came back for me. The ferry came back for one person. I parked my car, grabbed my camera gear, ran down to the dock. They put up the gangway for me and I got on, and nobody was mad. It seemed like, whatever, something else for them to do, come back and pick me up. But the ferry came back for me. It was gone. It was pulled out and it came back for me.
I don't think this will happen in very many other places, but they got me on, and I really appreciate them for doing that. Thank you, Lighthouses ferry people. On my way over to Lighthouses, and I can't believe I'm saying that. It's only a short ride. I think it's about 20 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll be there for a couple of hours and just see what the town is all about and see if I can learn a little bit about it.
I keep coming back to this place. A couple of times a year now, actually. I don't have any family or close friends here. I haven't ever worked here or anything like that. I'm just fascinated by this town. I've heard the current mayor say in an interview once that as a youngster, it felt like Bonavista was a dying town. The statistics bear that out. The population of the town dropped by about 40% in the years after the cod moratorium was announced. Throughout the 90s and the early 2000s, there wasn't a lot of reason to believe there was much of a future here at all. There's still lots of mementos of the Cabot 500 celebrations around the town, and this shouldn't be ignored. That Cabot 500 stuff came along at the exact moment we really needed it. Times were really bad in Newfoundland in 1997, and this gave us something to get excited about, something to take our minds off of what was happening, especially in towns like Bonavista. But what's happening in Bonavista now? Why am I so optimistic about the place? Well, you can see all kinds of small businesses around town. Some are seasonal and geared toward tourism, which is great, but there are lots that operate year-round. Even a few of the restaurants are able to stay open in the months that don't see a lot of tourists. I'm not sure that people in this town thought that would be possible even just like 10 or 15 years ago. It's not a perfect town by any means. Many businesses are giving it a go, but they don't all survive. But the fact that businesses continue to come in and continue to give it a go, with many of them doing well, is fuel for others to believe in the town and invest in the town. And young families move back to town and are living good, safe, comfortable lives.
Hi, I'm Randy Royal. I'm born in St. John's, living in Mount Pearl the past almost 50 years now, actually. I worked at the post office for 37 years, loved it immensely, had a great time there. Retired 11 years ago, and here we are today.
Probably around 15 years ago, my mom started talking about a place called By the Beach out in Portugal, close St. Phillips. And she just raved about it. I remember my first ever order from By the Beach, and I was feeling like it was like a completely new experience. The batter is so light and flaky. The pieces are always fat and tasty. The place is tiny, but if you're lucky enough to get a seat out on the patio in the summer, you get like the most peaceful view you can imagine. I'm not particularly fond of the place in the same way that I love Bonavista, Harbor Breton. You know, there's nothing beautiful about Mount Pearl. But there's a lot of parks and playgrounds and things for kids. I took a stroll just last night with my wife through some of the old paths that I haven't walked through in decades. And every 100 meters or so, there's a slide or a swing set or a soccer field or something for kids to run around and have fun and get some exercise. That makes for a good community.
les Bleus St. John's, elle est présentement 13h14 à Dunkel. Please move forward. Veuillez avancer.
It's pretty nice to be home. Now, when it comes to iconic town signs of the island of Newfoundland, a lot of them have been popping up. I don't know if it's a new phenomenon or if it's just something I haven't noticed before. You got the iconic dildo sign, which is kind of what sparked this in my mind. And then a lot of other places started putting up wooden ones, colorful, not colorful, whatever the case is. But if you're traveling around, look for them. And in particular, my two favorite signs are the two I Love Newfoundland signs that I saw on the West Coast, one in Deer Lake at the airport and one at Port aux Basques, kind of just after you come off the ferry. But of course, they're a little different, but they still sort of fit into the theme of the town signs. There was evidence of a shipwreck during an immense storm off the rugged coast of Island Mort. Anne Harvey was a teenager, and she got her father, her younger brother, and her dog and went out to sea in a rowboat and essentially saved 160 plus lives. We need stories of heroism from our own people to help us sometimes, and this is a great example of a true story that happened because of the strength and courage of a teenage girl and her family. And that's, I think, what I'm so fascinated about. It's because of the Harvey story in Island Mort. This is St. John's. It's the capital city of the Atlantic Canadian province of Newfoundland and Labrador. It's pretty here. Our people are known for being some of the sweetest and funniest people in the country. And we have a mostly well-earned reputation for giving you the shirt off our back if you're in need. But piss us off, there's no coming back from that. In 1949, on March 31st, the official Confederation of Newfoundland with Canada took place. Is there a timeline where Newfoundland exists as the 49th state of the USA? Maybe. Newfoundland joining Confederation is still in the living memory of many Newfoundlanders. My parents were both born in Canada, but I have a couple of uncles who were born in the colony. That is to say, all of this might seem like ancient history, but it's really not. Kings Point is an absolute hidden gem in terms of tourism in Newfoundland. Not a lot of people know about it. It is a one-of-a-kind town and pretty little place. My brother actually taught here for a couple of years back, 5 or 6 years ago, I think, a little while ago. But we wanted to pop in to see where he lived for a little while. St. John's definitely has a character that you won't find anywhere else in Canada. This character is interesting, at least to me, because it's not just what you see on the surface that makes it stand out. It's the stories behind some of the things that we see every day, like things that catch our attention on their face, but are, to use an apt YouTube comparison, kind of like just the thumbnails to a deeper story. Keith's is legendary. It has been around for like 60 years, and it has a reputation as one of the best restaurants in Newfoundland, not just fish and chips joints, but the fish and chips, at least in my opinion, is key. And that's coming from a Mount Pearl boy. So for me to say that about a place in the Ghouls, you know it's the spot. Leo's is the best. It just is. Every time I go there, I leave happy. The fish is perfect, the chips are perfect, the dressing, the gravy, the tables, the chairs, the clean but otherwise untouched decor from the 1970s, 1960s maybe, the spooky narrow hallway to get to the bathroom, everything perfect. The reason Leo stands out for me is that it's a legitimately nostalgic look back into St. John's history with an absolutely delicious main offering, fish and chips, that makes it all make sense. And to top it all off, the service there is just like you've been invited into a friend's house for supper. Leo's is just the best place in Newfoundland for a feed of fish and chips. I don't think I can explain it any better than that. Lighthouses are the stereotypical icon to represent Atlantic Canada. Newfoundland is definitely known for lighthouses. I've seen quite a few in Newfoundland, but I have by no means seen them all. There's just so many. The Twillingate Lighthouse, kind of the Crow Head Lighthouse, but actually called the Long Point Lighthouse, is located at Long Point, just past Crow Head, which is a town outside of Twillingate. Anyway, a beautiful stone, maybe concrete lighthouse, painted red, overlooking the ocean, of course, raised above a big rocky cliff. It's where I experienced probably the most Newfoundland moment of my life. So in the summer of 2023, I traveled with my parents and my son to the lighthouse one beautiful July afternoon. And we went to see the lighthouse and just kind of wander around. But this particular day, there was an enormous iceberg in the middle of July, mind you, just off of Long Point, basically on the entrance into Twillingate Harbor. It was mind-blowing to see how big this iceberg was in the middle of a hot summer day. And while everybody was looking over with their cameras, looking at the iceberg, there was a pod of whales that was playing. Looked like they were basically putting on a show for all of us way up on top. It was just an amazing experience.
lies long, our fathers so we love. Where once they stood we stand, their prayer we raise to heaven above. God guard thee, Newfoundland. God guard thee, God guard thee, God guard thee, Newfoundland. Thank you very much. Good night. Out the boat.
Now, I grew up in Mount Pearl, and on the Avalon, riffs isn't a thing. But basically everywhere else around the island of Newfoundland. I think there's 1 or 2 locations in Labrador as well. Riffs is everywhere, and it's in the last 3-4 years when I've really been making an effort to travel around and see more of Newfoundland that I noticed that Riffs is everywhere. It's a discount department store, but it's the type of store where you can get everything. They are in maybe 20 locations around Newfoundland in small towns, so if you're trying to cover as much ground in Newfoundland as you can use Riffs as your anchor points. My favorite lighthouse on the island of Newfoundland that I have seen, no question, is the lighthouse at Rose Blanche. The lighthouse that was built in 1873, I believe, operated for about 70 years, and then it was abandoned. And from the 1940s till about the 1980s, it just deteriorated. It still stood, but it just started to fall apart. And in the mid-90s, the lighthouse was completely restored, built according to the way that it was determined that it was built in the past, and the resulting lighthouse that exists today, that is functioning, is absolutely breathtaking.
Found myself in a cardboard box, feelings hidden deep down. I found us back, now I can't escape. Oh, you're not one you get rid of. I linger as the ground shakes. Paper cuts on what could have been. Every morning made us better. If only you'd known it when you had me. You had to call me a bad name.
Did you even know there's a place called Cavendish Square in downtown St. John's? Today, it's that little island of land between the Newfoundland Hotel, or the Sheraton, and Bannerman Brewery. But it used to be a fairly important square for the city back in the day. There's a monument there dedicated to a woman named Ethel Dickinson. Ethel was a volunteer nurse, and she gave up her life a little over 100 years ago tending to the sick during the last big pandemic that hit the world before COVID. I still don't think many people know who Ethel Dickinson was, what she did, that there's a beautiful monument dedicated to her that stands in a fairly busy corner of St. John's to this very day. The monument's pretty overgrown with trees today, but it's definitely there. A lot of history in Fairyland. It's the site of the colony of Avalon. Today it's an archaeological site, but it was the setting for the second colony in Newfoundland, in the English-speaking New World, right? There's a lot of history, a lot of cool things were uncovered at that archaeological site. It also has a beautiful lighthouse. Like, the lighthouse itself is pretty cool, but the area where the lighthouse is situated is... The moratorium was a big blow to a town like this, a town that had existed because of the fishery for well over 200 years. But the troubles didn't start with the moratorium. The fishing industry in Newfoundland, and specifically in towns like Grand Bank, had been struggling for a few years, and in Grand Bank, the major fish plant actually shut down the previous year. There was so many things happening at this very point in time in Grand Bank, and other fishing towns just like it, that would shape the direction of Newfoundland's journey to this very day. But Grand Bank had a few strokes of luck that many other towns in Newfoundland didn't have. And that fish plant that shut down in 1991 reopened under new ownership, and it's actually still running to this very day.